Hello, I'm here today to talk to you about Jesus. No, seriously, I am here today to talk to you about Jesus. I first of all want to talk about two opposite problems that I think I have with Christianity. One of them is, how can we be personally significant in the universe? The universe is vast, old, and so forth, and there is a tiny blue dot somewhere with a sign pointing to it saying, "You are here." Why the heck would we be significant to God? Because we are tiny human beings on the skin of a tiny blue planet lost in the infinity of the universe, and that seems to be a bit weird to me. The other problem with what I'm going to talk about, which is going to be about atonement, i.e. what Jesus was doing when he died, what that was for, is very difficult to talk dispassionately about that, because whether or not you believe in the historical Jesus, crucifixion was a fact, and it was a horrible way to die. It may have been exaggerated for Christian purposes, but it was a horrible way to die, and we are talking about somebody that we are supposed to love being killed in that horrible way. And it seems wrong just to talk about it in a sort of dispassionate, rational, logical, calm, stoical way. But that is what I'm going to do. First of all, there are several theories of atonement, i.e. theories about what Jesus was doing up there on the cross and so forth. And I think it's interesting that the word theory is used in this context, because it's not theory as in scientific theory. And also, the theories can be mutually compatible. You don't just have to believe one, you can believe several at once, and that's not a problem. And if you think that's different from science, think about theories of endometriosis. There's a theory based on metaplasia, and there's a theory based on retrograde menstruation, and both of those can be happening at the same time. So that's doesn't mean it's not, it's incompatible with the modern use of the word theory. Anyway, we're actually talking about atonement, aren't we? So let's actually get on with it. Right. The thing that I'm most familiar with, because I come from an evangelical Christian background, is substitutionary atonement, penal substitution. The idea being that I am a sinner, like other people, so God sent his fully divine and fully human Son to die on the cross for me personally, so that he could die in my place and take upon those sins for me, my sins. And therefore, if I were to commit myself to him and make him king of my life, that would solve the problem of justice being done. And that is the familiar penal substitution theory of atonement. It's been covered elsewhere, so I'm not particularly going to talk about that here. However, it's important to recognise that that's not the only theory. There are a number of others. One of them is the ransom theory. The ransom theory is basically that Christ dies on the cross, and that is a bait offered by God the Father to Satan, in order that Satan takes the bait unjustly, and therefore that justice needs to be done, and he is defeated because he's basically broken his contract. I think there are two problems with that. One is that it's deception. God is lying to Satan. Maybe God can lie to Satan, that's okay, or maybe not, but it seems to be deception. And also the idea of a contract, because I don't think the universe works in terms of contracts. I think the universe works in a spiritual sense in terms of love. And I don't see that there are any contracts involved in love. I mean, marriage exists, but that's a subject for another video. So that's something that I have a problem with. One thing I'm very keen on, actually, is the Christus Victor theory, which is the idea that of the harrowing of hell, that after Christ has been crucified, he dies and he goes down to hell and he harrows it and he defeats them. It's the sort of Jerry Bruckheimer Rambo type approach. And I like that. It reminds me of Ian Banks's approach, that he says that he would really like the dictators of the world to fill their pants with fear when they realise that the future is deep red. In other words, that a post-scarcity society will thrive and totally defeat authoritarianism and totalitarianism. And I think that there's a theme there with the Christus Victor theory that I think is very positive. The one I find most interesting, though, and I think, like I say, you can believe several at once, is the moral influence theory, which is a patristic theory dating from the Dark Ages, which also works quite well for liberal Christianity. And although I am a liberal Christian, I am also, I you know, I was saved in the sense of penal substitution theory, so it's not quite the same. But basically the moral influence theory is a little bit like the monk who killed himself in order to protest against the Vietnam War, is that Jesus Christ represents such a positive moral influence to us that he's almost like a hero of ours to inspire us to go on to do better and to avoid sin in future. And what I like about that, one of the things I like about that, firstly, it's really good anyway, but secondly, it actually works without a historical Jesus. All the others have to have a historical Jesus, but this one doesn't have to. And so I think that can work even if you don't believe that Jesus really existed. So that's actually something even an atheist who's skeptical about Jesus' existence can believe in. So that's all I've got to say for today. Happy Easter, if it is Easter when you're watching this. If you don't like this video, please tell me why so I can improve. And if you do like it, please share, rate, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow.